you'll get more time back soon, but it'll cost you more.
Right.
So effectively what's going to happen in businesses is the 1,000 people you removed in lieu of AI, it's going to cost you more to run AI.
Yeah.
Because the price will go up. Because none of the AI companies are making any money.
Well, it's a bit of an Amazon model as well. So if they take the whole market and now we've got you, we can control it and drive the price up.
I think the thing is we do it with the business because no one knows the business like the owner or the people within it. And quite often that's part of the challenge because it's their baby.
Yeah.
They've spent a lot of blood, sweat and tears over the years putting time, effort in, and they know something needs to change and they either don't know how to do it or they don't want to do it.
Hello and welcome to the Business Growth Show.
I'm John from Octopus Computers.
And I'm Adam from Active Internet Marketing.
This is the show where we sit down with business owners, founders and entrepreneurs from Stamford and the Greater Rutland area.
We discuss their journey, look at their wins and their challenges, and get practical advice that you can apply.
New episodes come out fortnightly, so if you want to stay up to date, drop us a follow or subscribe wherever you're listening.
Welcome to the Business Growth Show. If you'd just both like to introduce yourselves.
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. So I'm Amy. I'm one half of Business Efficiency Experts. And I am obviously from Belfast. You can probably get that from the accent. But I always say I'm a bit of a nomad. I've lived in lots of different places, everything from Glasgow to Hampshire, Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, Buckinghamshire, and now North Nottinghamshire. So done all the shires.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, I'm James, obviously, the other half of Business Efficiency Experts, but I haven't really moved. I was born in Kent. You can tell by the accent I am quite posh and southern. But I moved when I was 3, something like that, kind of, and always lived in and around North Notts, really. Yeah, we met in Sainsbury's 7 years ago.
Not literally in the shop.
No, not in the shop. In
an aisle.
In an aisle over a tin of beans. Yeah, no, not quite like that.
No, it's about 7 years, roughly. I'm making that up, 6, 7 years ago. It's one of those fortuitous come together. Did nothing with change, no idea about change kind of management or project management or anything like that. I've done it for 20 odd years. You got chucked into a role where you didn't have a clue. Luckily I was there and we the rest is broadly history from that perspective. So
Excellent. Yeah. And how long has the business been going?
About 14 months, roughly. 14 months is about kind of April, roughly, last year. So we left Sainsbury at the same time in April. And then I think we were probably 2 years talking about doing this thing anyway.
Right.
And we had the opportunity to do it. So it was like, it was crack on and do it.
Yeah.
Well, all we're doing is the same thing we've done for the last 20 years anyway. So,
Right.
yeah, effectively.
So for anyone listening, what does that entail? What outcome do they get from working with you?
Lower cost base, increased productivity, smoother operating models, kind of take away the frustration of day-to-day stuff, not enough time to do stuff, people probably not doing stuff consistently. You're hemorrhaging cash, perhaps, which most businesses seem to do really well nowadays. Or actually, you just want to be able to scale and improve from something you've done for the last 20 years to something you need to do to take yourself forward. So,
Or you've been trying to land things within your business and nothing's really stuck. So people haven't done what you thought they would do, change hasn't landed the way it should have done, then that's where we can come in and provide that level of support as well to get people to think a bit differently.
Excellent. I was looking at your case studies as well, and it seems like you operate across quite a few different varying industries and business types. Who are your kind of ideal clients?
not the ones we marketed at. I own it. But that's not true from ideal perspective. But you know, the work we do in process improvement and productivity suits businesses that move stuff or move people. So traditionally, construction, manufacturing, supply chain, logistics, retail, obviously. But in reality, that's kind of what we market towards. But in reality, most of our work ended up in financial services.
Right. Oh, interesting.
It's just movement of paper rather than people. But effectively, it's just process. And all we really do is just remove legacy process that's now causing complexity. And I think the biggest conversation we're having at the minute is the AI thing, where businesses are just going, just put AI in. And all that's doing is automating Automating
process.
complexes.
Right.
So it's great for us because we just then quite simply say, well, we'll help you kind of standardize and simplify that process piece. And when you do it best in AI, it actually works for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it probably varies, but what sort of length of time would you generally work with a client?
Well, we've got a little jingle for this, really. It's quite long. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Roughly.
Did you think he was going to sing there?
I had a little bit of.
I'm working on that. That's going to go in TEDx, I think, and if I'm allowed. So that it ranges. So we set up our business, our own operating model to be flexible.
Right.
And we don't do 350-page frameworks of. It's nodding at me. You've seen that before in the automotive world. You know, the big deck. It says you go do this, and your world will be a better place. We don't do that. We've spent many years trying to
Railing against it, I should.
trying to pull their things to pieces, right? So everything we do, it's really easy to say it's bespoke, but it truly is. So, but we built our own model around that. So if you need a couple of weeks worth of cost saving support, we can do that. If you need 2 or 3 days of training, we can do that. If you need an operating model redesign, that might take 6, 8 weeks. We can do that.
All right.
I think the thing is we do it with the business because no one knows the business like the owner or the people within it. And quite often that's part of the challenge because it's their baby.
Yeah.
They've spent a lot of blood, sweat and tears over the years putting time, effort in, and they know something needs to change and they either don't know how to do it or they don't want to do it. Because they've always done it the way they have. So for us, it's really important. We do everything with the business and we support them to do it. Because if we go in and actually do it for them, nothing changes. As soon as we leave, they'll just revert to type.
Yeah.
That's not to say that they have to do it themselves, but it's us giving them the support and sometimes be that hand holding just to get them moving in the right direction.
It's really simple, isn't it? The shop floor already knows the answers. People already know the answers.
They already know what doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
They just don't have the either the capability or the support or the framework around them to help eke it out. Well, that's all we do. We just help business leaders and frontline teams eke out the answers to what they probably already know.
In terms of putting those changes in place, what are the obstacles you see in businesses to change? Because it feels as though, certainly the businesses I encounter, sometimes there's a reticence to change things. You know, we've always done it that way. There's the famous, very expensive sentence that we hear. What do you think stops people from changing?
I think it's belief, quite simply, it's belief that it's change fatigue. So it's kind of repetitious change management programs that have been forced leadership down. And then the front line gets fatigued with, another change that's done in exactly the same way. And it's not as simple as saying, we'll do it front line up. That's not the way, because the belief is still not there. But the kind of old saying of what's in it for me is just the most important thing to do. And it's not a what's in it for a business to say you are going to save £25 million. Great, that's cool for the business owner, not so much for the frontline guys. So by saving 25 million quid, how does it make my life easier? Not monetary. It's like if I kind of stop walking 25 minutes when I don't need to because it's a pain in the arse, isn't it? Or I'm fed up with having to do this 50 times. It's that kind of belief on the front line, really.
I think there's also a bit of inquisitiveness. So if you think when you're a child, everything's new, isn't it? It's always why? Or you want to try something different because you've never done it before. I think as we get older, life teaches us that sometimes trying new things isn't easy or things go wrong. And sometimes that's just what they're afraid of, especially if it's their own business. If you've put blood, sweat and tears and loads of time and energy into doing it, if you make a mistake, it can be quite costly. And sometimes I think it's just the fear of the unknown. And a lot of what we do when we go into business is just try and do a quick win really, really easily. Because then if you actually see something changing, people are a bit like, oh, actually, that wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. I've actually been able to change something. And it then opens their mind to, well, we could actually try something different because we've done that. That's been okay. It hasn't been as scary as I thought it might be. It is that kind of dipping your toe in the water. And sometimes it just helps having people like us come in and be that outside, one, point them in the right direction, but two, kind of go through that change journey with them.
Yeah.
From a frontline perspective, for sure, but we are quite different in terms of how we frame the return on what you'll pay for us. Go back to the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Only goes to 12. It's quite a short engagement period from that perspective in most changes, and that's quite simply because we don't do strategy. We don't do long-term kind of transformational, massive target operating model things. 2 reasons. One, we have a partner network that work with us, but we're just not big enough to be able to take that kind of huge stuff. And secondarily, we don't want to. It's not what we do.
Yeah.
We've kind of been there, done that.
Yeah.
We're good.
But what it lets us do, though, is because it's a relatively short period, we're quite confident in saying that whatever you pay for us, you will get back within that 12-week period. So back to your change management question, the stuff around the people change, the leadership change, but from a business owner perspective, that instantaneous, well, this isn't going to cost me McKinsey level money and I'm never going to see the return back off it. So those 2 things kind of work end to end for us for a business to go.
So you can make quite a big impact in a really short period of change. And I guess if people start seeing that improvement at all levels of the business, that engages them further as you're going through with the later changes as well, like you said, with a quick win.
Yeah. And the model works that way for us. It's do the quick win, do the change the business has asked us to do. So we see quite a lot of productivity consultancies with a framework, doing the framework, which quite perhaps doesn't fix the problem the business wanted to fix in the first place. So just fix that, because that's what you've been paid to do. But for us, we do a lot of training and coaching on the job. We kind of have to, and that kind of plays into the continuous improvement piece, really. You know, if we're messing about with a load of process maps everywhere, it's kind of useful if the people have got a Scooby-Doo what you're doing. So they get a bit of coaching, but it tends to lead then to say, well, we've shown some improvement quickly. We've helped you fix the problem you needed fixing. But now there's an opportunity for us to truly upskill your people so you can continue doing it yourself. It kind of works that way, and works in a mix as well. Sometimes we get asked to do a little bit of training, which then leads to, I wonder if you could help us fix this problem. And but it's about building the relationship with the business and not forcing something that's set on every business.
Probably leads to more longer term business anyway.
Can do, yeah.
Yeah, and for us, it's really important to build those relationships. You know, you'll always say, James, won't you, that we probably spend too much time scoping up front. You know, so we quite often will have numerous meetings with a client before we even sign a contract with them, because it's important to listen. Because if we don't listen, if we don't get it right, the client's not going to get what they need or want. So for us, it's really important, not scoping, but the first thing we do when we go into a client is just listen to people within the business.
Yeah.
Tell us your ideas, tell us your frustrations, what's working, what's not working. If you had a blank piece of paper, what would you do differently? Because, you know, most people within the business will have those days where they go, bloody hell, you know, not this again.
Are they on the days that end in Y?
Exactly. Pretty much every day. You know, there will always be something that frustrates you. There will always be something that went wrong, probably. You know, it could be a day ago, it could be 3 weeks ago, it could be 6 months ago, but quite often the same things keep on happening time and time again. And you're so busy doing the do that nothing changes. And sometimes it just needs someone to be asking questions, listening, and all of a sudden us as outside eyes can just pick up on, well, that's interesting. Because quite often people will come to us and what they think's a problem actually isn't the problem.
Right.
Most cases, but that's normal. People, a problem's an output, isn't it? People see the pain of whatever the problem is, and they make an assumption on what's causing it, and it's not, generally not. It's just usually the assumption is whatever hurts the most.
Right.
But it's probably something 15 steps down the line anyway. So, yeah.
And are there common problems you see across these different businesses in different sectors, or does it vary quite dramatically?
No, the problem in itself is the same. It's just complexity. That's the overarching problem. It's layers of complexity is probably, and in the tech age, in the AI age, ironically, the layers of complexity are just getting bigger than they were before. And And I think the accessibility of AI for most businesses now is just easy, isn't it? Just go on Claude, say, well, I do this in my labour payroll, and jobs are good at that. Then, apart from if it does what it did to me yesterday, which anyway,
He lost a whole website page.
I did, yeah.
Just decided to.
I didn't lose it. Claude lost it. So it's fantastic for us that actually, because we were not born in the AI world, right? We were born in the traditional process improvement world, but obviously we adapt as a business through the training as well, interestingly. So yeah, we utilize it a lot for us to be able to help and guide clients. So when stuff does happen, like that happened yesterday, one, it triggers something in your own mind, but two, it gives you a real kind of sense where you can help just a little bit more from that. But no, the problems is complexity, and it's over processing of a process generally,
Right.
And it always manifests itself in time, cost, capacity.
Or there is no process is the other one that we find quite a lot, that people are just muddling through. You know, it's either you're in a business where you've grown from maybe one site to a number of sites, or there might have only been you as the business owner, and all of a sudden you've got a team. If you don't actually have a way of working that everyone knows exactly what they should be doing when they should be doing it, you just get all of these variations of people doing what they want, which then means quite often you either lose time because you're not doing stuff in the quickest, most efficient way. You're costing yourself money because you might end up reworking stuff and redoing stuff because stuff didn't quite go the way you wanted it to. Or quite often you're going to impact your customer because, you know, you're giving different levels of service. And we see it across loads of different businesses. We interestingly had a conversation with a pharmacy team, and it was the exact same challenges in a pharmacy as we've seen in retail, as we've seen in accountants, as we've seen in manufacturers. You know, quite often you hear industries going, but we're different. You know, we're special.
It wouldn't work for us
because when actually it's really interesting, the more industries we talk to, it's just the same stuff.
Yeah.
Must be a really interesting job for both of you, because you must get to see such a variety of businesses and really explore them and get in depth with them. And I bet you know so much information on such random topics compared to other people.
Absolutely, yeah. And the interesting point, I think, is this: that you're 20 years in corporate, but the corporate world, apart from it being big and ugly, is no different from a quality or capability or process perspective to a 15 million quid manufacturer. They're no different at all. They're no better, no worse, no better. What's great in a corporate world when you've got 120,000 employees, there's a lot of people to pick up the slack there, right? When something goes wrong. Whereas in a smaller business, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But yeah, the variability is great. But again, we built our framework, our own internal process, built around Lean and Six Sigma, right? That's it. But yeah, you'll not hear me talking about anything to do with Six Sigma.
He's not allowed to talk about this Japanese man.
Well, it's not all that. I've spent 20 years taking a massively perceptual, overcomplicated toolkit, and it was born in a retail world. Like, and if most important people to get to help change are the frontline guys, right, guys and girls. So you go into a Sainsbury's, a Waitrose, and Asda, and talk to the guys on the till, and start talking in consultant language.
Right, yeah.
You don't get any wasted. Well, I've seen people get kicked out of shops for it.
Really?
Yeah, literally. Just get out.
There was someone who used to work for me who was from a very traditional consultant background. And I inherited him as a part of the
Like all inheritance.
Say that. I did inherit him as part of a restructure. Put him into a store to do a project, and I got a phone call from the store manager within about 2 hours, basically going, I want him out of my shop.
Wow.
Words to that effect.
Politely, I'm sure.
That's the polite version. But wanted him out of the shop because he was winding up people by being quite confrontational, actually. He didn't know how to relate to people. He couldn't translate his way of working into something that people would understand.
Yeah.
That I know best approach sort of thing. Or
Yeah.
Blind with science. I mean, we've all seen it, right? We've all, especially in an IT world, right? The easiest way to say you don't know the answer to a question is to say something the other person don't understand.
Yeah.
Right? It's quite easy to do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Six Sigma professionals that are like that.
bury it in jargon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, well, I've spent, particularly, and you have latterly 20 years dissecting that down to something you can do it with. And that's all we do for the business now. So tools and techniques, capabilities the same, but does a 12 million quid manufacturer need to be talking in Japanese language that nobody understands?
Definitely not.
Probably not.
But the overkill compared to the definitions of them.
Well, we still my favorite, it's all over LinkedIn, my favourite's Gemba. Right. I mean, that's great.
You've got to explain Gemba now.
I was going to say,
just means workplace.
Yes. Oh, I was where the work happens.
Right, okay.
You just say that, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly the point, is that they go, well, you've got to say Gemba, you've got to say like, the 5S is all the, I always think one of them is Seitan, and I know that isn't because that's the wheat product, but
that's the outcome.
yeah.
Some stuff's obviously a lot simpler, but like if you're in England and you work in an English business with English people, or French or Spanish, then how to be Japanese? Just there's no need for it, right? In all honesty, you probably said it in the wrong tone anyway.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it won't be Kaizen. It'll be
100%. Yeah.
So what's the point? What's the point? That's the point.
I won't get too. We'll do that off film. I'll get really nerdy about Japanese in a bit. So
But that's the problem. It's people focus on a word rather than the actual meaning behind it. So go to the place of work is about actually going, observing, talking to the colleagues, understanding what's happening, understanding what's working, what's not working. It's not just go to the place of work.
go see what actually happens.
Literally.
And it's just make it human,
relatable as well.
And that's a challenge with a lot of what we see. And we even get really frustrated. We were talking to someone about training yesterday, and we'd had a look online, and you could do a black belt course in a day, which. Considering it took you about 10 years to actually get to master black belt, and you're kind of going, theory's great, but
Can't be right.
But the contextualization of it, the human element, the relatability, the how you actually use it in your day job, you're never going to get that from an online course in a day that takes someone else 10 years to do.
I guess you can cause more damage than what you positive impact you have as well if you're not careful with a lot of things.
And particularly concerns around the AI world of that now as well. That particular methodology, because it's not complex, but it can be, and but it's rigorous, right? It's rigorous, and there's a lot to it. But what AI does is speed up complexity, right? So what people are technically doing now is, I'll just get AI to teach me how to do that instead. So
it hasn't got finesse. I'd say it's more of a blunt instrument
or accuracy. A lot of instances, but and it'll always give you the same result, right? So it'll give you our result, and you go, but that's factually incorrect. And then it'll just go, well, I'm sorry, I know it is. I should have.
But that's fine if you know it's factually incorrect.
That's the problem.
Yeah, if you run off and use it and it's incorrect.
It happens in your worlds as well, right?
Absolutely.
Just there's nothing more, is there now, than I'll just get AI to do my marketing for me. It's like.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. Please remember to like, give us a rating, give us a follow and subscribe wherever you're listening if you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, cool.
How do you see the AI impacting these companies who are looking for improvement? Because I bet they will run straight to it first. With respect to listening, we all know you're doing it. AI, how do I solve this problem?
Yeah.
How's that going to change, do you think, over the coming year or so?
So I think it's already changing. So I think the fatigue of AI not delivering against the value that it should have delivered against is already here. But businesses they're not seeing what the causes of that yet. Right. They're looking at it as poor implementation of AI, really, which isn't strictly true. But secondarily, for the businesses that have truly got rid of a load of people, that's about as blunt as you can say it, in lieu of AI, they're in for a big shock soon. So you guys use AI, right?
Yeah.
Use Claude?
Yeah, as a nerd, I've used pretty much all of them. So yeah,
What's your token sessions like over the last 2 or 3 weeks?
try not to use too many anymore.
Yeah, because he's been squeezed, right? So you're getting significantly less time for your costs.
Yeah.
You'll get more time back soon, but it'll cost you more. So effectively what's going to happen in businesses is the 1,000 people you removed in lieu of AI, it's going to cost you more to run AI.
Yeah.
Because the price will go up. Because none of the AI companies are making any money.
Well, it's a bit of an Amazon model as well. Sort of they take the whole market, and now we've got you, we can control it and drive the price up.
You got no choice, because you probably built a load of stuff in Claude that you're like, oh,
need it to run.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll just pay it. But for a business that's removed 1,000 people at, I don't know, 40 grand a year, call it average, it's going to cost you a lot more than that to run the tokens, right? So yeah, that kind of jump to the next big thing. And it happened when codification came in, right? And I'm going to my TED talk here. It happened when we dug coal out of the ground with spades. Spades, machine dig coal. Stuff got better. We had computers and everybody just tapped a load of stuff. Then we had some code that tapped a load of stuff for you. And now we've got AI that allegedly does a load of human work for you. But the coding era never got rid of coders. The AI era has got rid of people.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Fantastic for us, because our business then just becomes, well, we'll help you redo that operating model. Yeah, and now it doesn't work because you've done that.
But that's a lot of the challenge as well, is that people like the shiny stuff, don't they? You know, you'll be like that with tech, won't you?
Yeah,
it'll start like, ooh. I didn't say that. But it'll be whatever the latest thing comes out. And I'm the same, it's in the marketing world as well.
It's constantly changing, and there's different directions. And yeah, you did, like you're saying, you've got to be really cautious before you leap with both feet into some direction, you know.
But people like shiny stuff. They do. So we were at the NEC yesterday for a smart manufacturing conference.
Right.
And you were like a kid in a candy store. Well,
It's robots everywhere.
Really?
You know, Robot Wars.
Yeah.
The actual robots were there from Robot Wars.
I saw them at using Maker Central as well at the NEC, same thing, and they bring them all down. And John Five from Short Circuit was there too.
You've gone into geek levels, aren't you?
Got to watch these things, you know.
but it was just like all this really shiny stuff, and the hall was absolutely packed. Yeah, upstairs there was another kind of conference on, and it was more about the individual components, like I don't know, the different bearings, the tooling rigs, and
the building blocks.
But the building blocks you actually need in manufacturing. Downstairs was absolutely heaving. Upstairs wasn't at all. But the challenge is everyone moves to this really shiny stuff, but then either doesn't know what to do with it, puts it in, and it doesn't get adopted, because what people then tend to forget is quite often in a lot of industries and organizations, you've got everything from, you know, people like late teens, early 20s, and that's their world. Everything's about tech. They've just gone up with it. You've then got people of our generation who, like, we've only really like done AI since we've started the business.
Yeah.
In the corporate world, we didn't. Copilot was kind of a thing, but not really.
Nobody trusted it.
We still can't, don't worry, it's fine.
But then older generations, you know, there's people don't even have smartphones. People don't necessarily trust self-scanners in a supermarket because, rightly so, or internet banking, because they see it as taking people's jobs. So you've got this whole range of people with tech. And then you'll put tech into business and people are just like, well, why has it not worked? Why have I spent all this money and nothing's changed? Or they then don't change the operating model around it, because if you're employing someone for 37.5 hours a week and you take away, I don't know, 10 hours of their job because of AI, you can't just get rid of a person. But if you don't actually redistribute that work, what are they going to do? They're just going to go, oh, happy days, I've got 10 hours back, I'll just do whatever. Whereas actually, if you focus that and change the way they work, you can actually add so much more value to a customer. I always talk about the contact centers. So I don't know, you're doing online banking, you've got an issue, you want to speak to someone. Chances are those online contact centers will have the same queries time and time again. And all they'll do is they'll probably log it somewhere. Whereas actually, if you then use AI to almost field some of those queries, it then releases the time for people to go, oh, do you know what? We've had 50 of the same query in the last week. Why don't we actually go and do something to fix it, to stop the query from actually happening again? And that's where AI can really add value, field the stuff, and then let people actually put the human lens on it.
And that's, I think, the bit people are missing. They're trying to use AI to replace the human lens, to replace the agility, the actual thought that goes into it, rather than using it to do the repeatable job. And we're pushing it the wrong way, and we're trying to get the creativity, all of the content, or the actual thinking piece automated so that we can be the repetitive drone. That seems to me the wrong way around.
Yeah, it's the expensive way around, right?
Yeah.
You're going to pay double the amount twice.
So because it's tokens, because it's repeatable, because it's not agile either.
No, indeed, yeah. It's a whole day's worth of conversation.
We're not going to get the world to right. I understand.
No, we're not.
So taking a step back from that, why did you guys get into this? Why did you get started in the first place all those months and a year ago?
We were talking about it for a couple of years at Sainsbury's, and in all honesty, which I will be in this perspective, is that we were doing some fantastic work serving shareholders.
Yeah.
That were making decisions that didn't serve colleagues or customers in a lot of instances. So it quite simply became enough's enough at that point. And the whole premise of continuous improvement is to continuously improve in small increments to do the right thing for colleagues and customers, and that just got pushed away.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we were talking about it. It happened over a couple of years, really. That slide and that kind of thinking. And then it was literally just, well, why don't we just do it? Like, we've got this skill. We're literally going to lift up the same thing we've done for 20 years. We'll probably have to tweak some stuff, but we did, and we just build a business out of it. That's it.
What are your plans for the business? Are you looking to grow, take on more people, and expand, or what?
Don't want to improve. Like,
It's a smart decision.
yeah, nothing to do with the people perspective, but we don't need to. So we built a partnership network around us, and Kaz and Chris are part of that network, and it's complementary industries that can help us achieve bigger growth things. It's a really crap explanation, but it's effectively the growth ambition in terms of scale for our business is to take bigger projects.
Right.
Yeah.
But to do that, we need to take that as a partnership.
Yeah.
So that for us allows us to kind of take on not necessarily just big projects as in big things to do, but wider industries, etc. So, and you know, I think we said on day one that we'll just franchise this thing, right? Simple as that.
It's an easy thing to do, I heard.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. But from our point, we've learned so much from networking, if you like. You know, we do more networking than God knows what. It took about 6 months to do the right networking, but you know, there's that much of it. But I think what we found was you can partner and collaborate with such a broad range of businesses that you can expand your own business scale just by doing that. So then you're not employing, you're not managing people, etc. And to be honest, I don't want to manage people or want to employ, but there's so much opportunity to support other like-minded industries. Industries
and businesses. You know, I think it's been really interesting for us coming out of a corporate world, because in a corporate world you spend so much of your time understanding other people and trying to build your network within a large organization so that if you've got an issue, you can then call upon the right person. But it's also incredibly political. So you're constantly having to think about either what you say, how you say it, the pre-meeting before the meeting, to align everyone, all of that sort of stuff. And I think when we first started the business, tried to go so far away from that. But we've just got that mentality of, why don't you just want to help people? So we spend a lot of time kind of connecting the dots between other people, and whether that's helping people to get in contact with other people that might either support their business or might give them business. But why wouldn't you just want to have a community of people who can support each other, get bigger contracts, recommend each other? Surely as business owners, you want to have that collaboration.
Definitely. Yeah.
What we tend to find, interestingly, is there's so many people out there for themselves.
Right.
But we've been really lucky. We have met a lot of really great people, and it just means that we can support businesses better. If we're going in and designing an operating model, quite often you get HR issues or you might get tech issues. We're not experts in those. Yeah, okay, working in the world we did, we've got pretty good HR knowledge because we have to be that HR person as line managers, but we're not experts. So why wouldn't you then have people within your network that you can then bring in and go like cats?
Really, yeah. Really.
Why wouldn't you do that? Because you're just supporting the businesses you're working with better. Plus, why wouldn't you also want to support people within your network?
Yeah. And you're giving more value to your client as well, aren't you? And building that loyalty there. Yeah.
That's the point. And from a selfish perspective, it enables us to be bigger. And I don't mean, in a hide in anything kind of way. Just we can take on bigger. We have the experience, skills, capability, and knowledge to take on big stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some big stuff we don't want to take on, but we can't do that singly.
Yeah.
So that expanded networks the right approach for us.
How did each of you get into the industry originally? Was it something that you kind of longed for from childhood, or did
just
you
want to be efficient?
Did it kind of evolve? Yeah, how did that happen?
Well, James's story is very different from mine.
Shall we let him go first?
Yeah, let him go first.
So I used to be a pro footballer,
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and finished that in and around 20, something like that. And then
All right.
all my mates worked at Morrison's, £2.74 an hour. So I was like,
All right.
let's go do that. So I laughed. Chuck some toilet roll on the shelf and stuff. It's easy, isn't it? Easy as. Turns out I was quite good at doing that, ironically. And then ended up, literally just working way through kind of the ranks in retail in a store. And then came out and did a short-term secondment in some productivity projects that were going on. That short-term was about 6 years at the end. Then met a guy called Guy from Toyota and PepsiCo, who was the Lean and the Six Sigma guy.
Right.
He come into Morrison's to do a load of training, and that's kind of from that really. And it came from. I think what worked really well. I'm not sure if I ever said this, but I think what worked really well was by doing it on the shop floor. You already knew the frustrations anyway, so then to be able to have the opportunity to unravel the frustrations that were yours.
Yeah.
And actually during the secondment piece, I was a store manager at the point, but during the secondment piece, you never knew whether you were going back to store anyway. Right. So I was like, I'm just going to rinse as much learning here as I can, because if that happens, phenomenal, right? I can just make this store so much easier to run and that way. So and then I did a load of stuff at Morrison's, training, loads of stuff, and then thought, well, I'm going to do this in a different industry. Why not? Right? Can I do the same Lean and Six Sigma stuff?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, instead of putting beans on a shelf, we'll put iPads on a shelf. So I went to Argos for a bit. And then 4 years later, Sainsbury bought Argos.
Right.
So dragged back in, kicking and screaming.
Destined for beans here, and I so like, we'll just do the same thing. It slightly different back in the Sainsbury's world. It was more cost saving stuff, because Argos needed a load of cost saving stuff in. But then I actually built continuous improvement in Sainsbury's, didn't I? Because nobody knew what the hell it was. Right. So I literally built that, which was a massive pain in the arse. So that's kind of the journey, really. And I think that bit in the middle was the part. It was like, I'm going to learn as much stuff as I can here to make my bloody life easier.
And when you spoke at the beginning about engaging with the parts of the team and all different levels they're in, I guess you've been there in the store or in the warehouse or similar, so you can really do that and relate
into places. Underneath balers, skips. And that's where nowadays I think, I always say this as well, don't I? It's all we need to do is just do what we did 50 years ago or do what we did 20 years ago. Just do that and you'll be more productive. Simple as. So like the kind of work we find most productivity out of is under the skips.
Right.
Not literally, but under the skips, under the racking, the stuff that's just in the way, the stuff that should take 2 minutes but it's taking 10 because of all that stuff's just stuff we did 20 years ago to get rid of anyway. And it's almost like let the complexity be what it is. I'll just get rid of the simple stuff.
Yeah.
Which is
That makes sense.
is that same.
Yeah, my background's really, really different. So I've always worked in retail. Ever since I was kind of 16, I had a kind of Saturday, Thursday night job while I was doing my A-levels, and then went to uni. My degree was actually in corporate communication. So I did marketing, PR, advertising, crisis management, all of that sort of stuff. Ended up going to a job fair when I was in Glasgow, and they had a stall for Sainsbury's for a graduate scheme, and I applied for the graduate scheme, and I ended up on the retail graduate scheme. So I started off in store with Sainsbury's, and I was with Sainsbury's for 20 years. But like James, kind of worked my way up, managed lots of different teams, store management, regional management. So I actually moved over with Sainsbury's from Northern Ireland to the south of England. And I then went into head office and I joined supply chain. So I used to be a category supply manager. I used to forecast exciting things like toilet roll and washing powder and pet food.
AI does that. It's been too bad.
Forecasting
Yeah.
probably does actually.
But even then, a lot of it was around relationships. And I obviously didn't have a supply chain background. I knew the impact in a store if it didn't go right. But for me, it was about building relationships with suppliers. And if you could get a really great relationship with a supplier, you then got better availability for your customer. And that was probably my first step into the world of continuous improvement, because we worked with own brand suppliers, and we have an own brand supplier with bleach. I know, really sexy stuff, who was, not delivering the way they should have been. And what it turned out on was that we were using a completely different bleach bottle to everyone else.
Right.
Oh,
Which meant that the line had to stop every time they were going to do Sainsbury's. And we also were doing different pack sizes from the rest of the competition. So actually that was, making it more difficult for them to serve us. So that was my first step into the world of continuous improvement, because that's about, well, why do we do that? And we got it changed. And then I went into a role where I was a kind of conduit between retail teams and buyers, and they talked in different language.
Yeah.
So one talked about sales, the other talked about profit. And there was this real blame game of, well, why do Sainsbury's head office do this to us? Why are stores not doing what we asked? And a lot of it was around understanding. So I kind of bridged that gap. I then rolled out beauty within Sainsbury's.
Okay.
So they tried to put a beauty proposition like a John Lewis or a Space NK into Sainsbury's stores. And I designed the service proposition with that and all of the training that went with it. And then I ended up in a change world, which is how we met.
Right. Brilliant.
And ironically, I said we should get with this beauty thing. It's too productive.
One for that bit. But it's a point of differentiation. And my role within change was more about, again, the getting people to deliver better change into stores, and getting things to land better. So I guess that's why the two of us work so well, because James is more technical and I'm more about how do we actually get people to think differently, do stuff differently, build those relationships. And when you add the two together, that's kind of how we've ended
you're
up.
getting the improvement and the impact.
Yeah, and you're also quite good at marketing and stuff and talking, clearly. Yeah. Really good at marketing and all that kind of stuff. So that, and branding and everything. So that, you don't want two of me running a business, because it'd be absolutely phenomenal outcome, wouldn't it? Eventually.
Extremely lean.
No, just eventually. And, I'm not for a productivity professional, I'm not really the most self-organized person in the world. You know, my diary management is awful and terrible, but you're good at that stuff, so it just kind of
I know,
works
but it's
that way.
just the same as what you tend to find, isn't it? Quite often, if you're a builder, your house is probably falling
Garden has
down
garden.
around you. Or if you're a landscaper, your garden's probably not great because you don't want to do what you do as a job at home.
Yeah, completely.
Oh, that's great.
And then I thought you were going to ask something, but I'm jumping in. I've got to ask you. So, have you got any funny stories about somebody that's instructed you, got you in to make all of these differences and improvements, and then they've been the barrier to it? Or does that happen?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's funny. It's unexpected, but no, I mean, I think we do quite a good job up front of releasing that barrier.
Yeah.
And like you say, we spend a fair bit of time, technical term, scoping in it, but it's just chatting to understand it. And actually, we'll not just not do work in some instances if we know that's going to be a problem. But the partner network helps there anyway. But in terms of funny, no, I mean, it's really dull from that perspective. I think probably the funniest was the manufacturer in Nottingham. It was what they manufactured, and we probably won't let this one out the bag on things. What they manufactured was quite a niche little thing. But it wasn't funny in terms of what happened. It was just the people. They were just... Well, carnage. I don't really know any other way. He's very, very specialist in little toy figures, basically. Little toy figures is their little thing. But the guy we were talking to was just crackers. He was just off his head. And that ended up transpiring into not doing that work. 'Cause we're just in a position where we're going,
How are we going to do this?
I don't understand what you said. I don't. You're telling us stuff, but I don't understand what it is. That's all. And it weren't out to do with the business. It was just generally the conversation. It was just, I can't. That's just going to end in tears, right? So, yeah, I think that does happen. I mean, there's many, 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 many funny stories from Sainsbury's, but you know.
NDAs.
Exactly. Probably can't talk about those.
And, if people wanted to get in touch with you guys, what's the best way they can do it?
I'm going to say LinkedIn, right, is probably the easiest because you ain't got 20 minutes for me to email. All the details are on there anyway. And, you know, you spend all day, every day on there anyway. So.
Well, we'll link to it in the episode description and stuff as well. And
it's probably the easiest start point.
Yeah, because our website and our email addresses have lots of hyphens in them. Which is actually why we tend to call ourselves Bees rather than business efficiency experts, because otherwise it just all becomes a bit for me.
I like Bees. That's good.
Tried to do it without the hyphens, didn't it? And it was without I can't
just together.
So,
That makes sense. Well, thanks so much for coming in.
No, thank you for having
you.
us. It's been great fun.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. That wraps up another episode of the Business Growth Show. Thanks for joining us.
We hope it gave you some ideas or inspiration that you can take away and use in your own business.
Don't forget to drop us a like, a follow, and a rating, and hopefully we'll see you soon for the next episode.